and welcome to this week's edition of Aggie News. I'm Biljana Garland.
And I'm Kayla Collier. The Rec Center is still closed. Many students were excited to begin their New Year's resolutions in the gym this semester, but now all that's available are group classes. It closed for renovations and remodeling last November with the hopes of opening in January. Due to supply chain demand delays, it was delayed to Wednesday, February 1st. The day before, they announced on Instagram that the Rec Center will be open for Group X classes. Many students on social media are asking for tuition refunds since they are paying for a resource that is not available to them.
Since the gym has been closed, it seems more people are jogging around campus.
Hopefully it stays as nice outside as it was today.
And it is going to stay pretty nice, at least for most of the week. But if we look at today, 59 degrees and 60 is the high. So we're getting some warmer temperatures getting into the earlier part of February. You can see here there's a bit of rain coming up here on Friday, but we're going to get to that here in a little bit. As we look at today's forecast, it's going to be chilly and sunny throughout the day. Now, I did say 60 degrees, but there is a bit of a wind chill. So having a jacket, you're probably going to want to have that with you, especially in the latter hours of the evening as the temperatures sink down into the upper 30s around 9-10 p.m. But if we look at other parts of the nation, some similar weather stories, cloudy and partially cloudy, sunny up north, and then even Denver getting some snow, which is kind of interesting to see. But if we look at our own 5-day forecast, partly cloudy for most of the week, but those temperatures will stay in the 60s, in the upper 60s until about Friday when we have that rain. It's going to be an 80% chance. You're going to want to have an umbrella that day because you will get rained on at some point during the day. But don't worry. That rain will be out of our hair Friday evening into Saturday early morning, and it'll be partly cloudy with cooler temperatures on Saturday, 51 degrees. Back to you guys.
Duke and UNC met this weekend for the first time this season. The Blue Devils beat the Tar Heels 63-57. Ahead of the game, reporter Jordan Davis talks about what was at stake.
Hello everyone, it's Jordan Davis here, reporter for Aggie News. And this weekend, the Duke Blue Devils will be taking on their rivals, the North Carolina Tar Heels, in their first matchup of the season so far. As many of you know, UNC defeated Duke in their last matchup, dating back to last season in the Final Four. I caught up with Derek Lively and Jeremy Roach to ask them how are they preparing for the game.
I mean, there's always excitement when it comes to this game, but I know everybody here is just ready to put the work in these next couple of days so that we can get our bodies, our minds, and our game right to the next game. This is very important to us, and we're just going to try our best and do our best.
Obviously, that Final Four loss, I mean, still sitting sick in my stomach for sure, but not trying to get too caught up in the matchup and nothing like that. Just focusing on ourselves like we have been every game. We know UNC's a hell of a team. They're going to come in hungry, and we just got to match their intensity.
Now, both teams are currently ranked outside of the top 25 ranking for AP and need this win to stay in contention in order to make the NCAA tournament in March. Duke is favored as the Blue Devils are undefeated so far this year at home. For Aggie News, it's been Jordan Davis signing off.
We are a week away from the Super Bowl, and Super Bowl 57 will be a historic one. Jacoby Swinton has more on what makes this championship game a first.
Jalen Hurts, the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, and Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, both started as backup quarterbacks their rookie season and worked their way to the starting position, leading their teams to winning records, division and conference titles, and a Super Bowl appearance. Black quarterbacks have had to deal with being seen as athletes who are freaks of nature and skill without having the smarts to lead a team at the quarterback position. Being able to witness two of the NFL's best quarterbacks on the biggest stage in American sports who are capable and competent at their position is very monumental. It is a moment that is 100 years in the making.
HBCUs will represent in this year's Super Bowl. With the Kansas City Chiefs, rookie cornerback Joshua Williams is a fourth-round draft pick from South Carolina State. His teammate safety Brian Cook played at Howard before transferring to Cincinnati. With the Philadelphia Eagles, defensive tackle Javon Hargrave was also drafted out of South Carolina State. And our very own from the illustrious North Carolina A&T is Mac McCain III. Coming up, it's Black History Month.
A recap of Black excellence around campus and at the Grammys.
Requires more than just strength and training. It's a mindset, one that believes you can be the very best. At North Carolina A&T, we applaud our Olympian medalists and members of the United States, Mexico, and Liberia national teams. Watching Trevor Stewart and Randall Ross Jr. make history in Tokyo were moments we'll never forget. We also applaud the 13,000 Aggies who were champions in so many other ways, from creating self-driving automobiles to landing nationally competitive scholarships. to changing the face of STEM careers across America. It's often said at A&T that Aggies do. Well, don't think for a second that Aggie champions are ever done. North Carolina A&T, home of champions.
Last Wednesday marked 63 years since 4 A&T freshmen started a movement. Ezell Blair, Joseph McNair, Franklin McCain, and David Richmond refused to leave the Woolworth lunch counter downtown, a white-only restaurant, until they were forced out, beginning the sit-in movement of the 60s. At this year's February 1 breakfast, Chancellor Martin presented the university's human rights medals to attorney Chance D. Lynch, who works on high-profile civil rights cases, and Dr. Sophia U. Noble, who is the founder and director of the UCLA Center and Race of Digital Justice. The legacy and activism remains present. It is an energy that Aggies young and old know.
At that point, and maybe participated in some demonstrations after that, they were called non-buying campaigns, campaigning against some of the stores on Elm Street down in downtown Greensboro. And so I've just been, excited about the history and following the history.
Joseph McNeil, almost 81 years old, was the only member of the 4 at the celebration.
The Blue and Gold Marching Machine showed out at the HBCU All-Star Battle of the Bands in Atlanta on Saturday, getting Miss Anita Baker to give the band a shout-out on Twitter. A&T went old school, naming this show The Classics, which featured artists like TLC, Anita Baker, Luther Vandross. Cold Steel showed off as cymbal players did flips and drums were tossed across the field. All this while the band is playing Never Too Much, Weak, and Good Love. Having traveled to Houston, Detroit, Charlotte, and Orlando this season, the All-Star Battle brings the season to a close.
The Zeta Alpha chapter of the Zeta Phi Beta crowned sophomore liberal studies major Joshua Paris as their new Mr. Zeta Phi Beta. Paris and 6 other Aggies commented in different categories throughout the night, including introductions, questions and answer, and of course, a talent show. Contestants wowed the judges with their skills. Xavier Gatewood's recreation of the iconic drum battle scene in the movie Drumline really got the crowd going. Also representing in the Zeta Phi Beta Royal Court are Keyshawn Johnson as Mr. Blue and White, Gabriel Woodard as Mr. 1920, and Hezekiah Mercer as Mr. Zeta Alpha. Coming up this Thursday, more Motown, the Mu Psi chapter of Omega Psi Phi, is holding its pageant at 6:30 in Harrison Auditorium.
Last night, we made history at the Grammys. Here's a look at the winners. Who now holds the most Grammys and is the new member of the EGOT Club?
Because we are witnessing history tonight. Breaking the record for the most Grammy wins of all time.
And the Grammy goes to Beyoncé. With her win for Best Dance Electronic Music Album for Renaissance, the singer-songwriter's 32nd career Grammy surpassed classical music icon Sir George Solti for the most Grammy Award wins of all time.
I'm trying not to be too emotional. And I'm trying to just receive this night.
She came into the awards with 9 nominations, more than any other artist, winning 4.
An icon who won a Grammy earlier today, which means she's officially an EGOT, Viola Davis.
The night also crowned the latest EGOT winner as Viola Davis won Best Audiobook, Narration, and Storytelling Recording for Finding Me. Davis is just the 18th person to win all 4 major entertainment honors. Brandi Carlile won a trio of trophies, as did Bonnie Raitt, who looked around in disbelief at winning Song of the Year for Just Like That.
I don't write a lot of songs, but I'm so proud that you appreciate this one.
You changed my life. You sang that gospel medley, and the way you made me feel, I was like, I want to make people feel this way with my music.
Lizzo spent a portion of her acceptance speech for Record of the Year thanking Beyoncé.
By just being myself. By just being who I was born as, it's just, I'm so thankful.
Jazz singer Samara Joy took home Best Jazz Vocal Album and the coveted Best New Artist Grammy.
You can read it.
Harry Styles!
The night's final award saw Harry Styles, who'd already won Best Pop Vocal Album, winning Album of the Year for Harry's House. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
That's all for this week's edition of Aggie News. I'm Kayla Collier.
And I'm Biljana Garland. We'll see you next week.